Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 9, Episode number 8 for Sunday the 29th of August 2021. Hello there, how are you? Welcome to the show. It's that time again. Hang on, lights. Has that evened it out a bit? No, not really, but oh well. It's that time of the week again. Hello, how are you? Here by the skin of our teeth this week. I can tell you, we were trying to do some clever things this week, and it's all backfired on me. It's not worked at all. And welcome to everybody who is in the chat over there already that you can see. There's Jimmy, there's Wesley, there's Dominic, there's Fat Hobbit, there's Penfold, there's Christopher. Yeah, that looks like about it. Right, I've got to catch up with what you've all been saying already, because you all got here before I did today. Everybody's basically saying good evening. Penfold is still offshore in Angola. Probably have to catch up later on his ass. I'm amazed how you get internet offshore. Are you on like Elon Musk's Skylink thing, or whatever you call it, with the satellite internet or something? Penfold says, in Death in Paradise BBC series, there's a war phone at the police station. Anyone know what it is? It's a black rotary dial phone with a long handset cord. It could be French. Yeah, could be. I don't know. I've never watched Death in Paradise, so I don't know. I'm sure somebody will tell you though. Somebody will come out with it in the chat and work it out. They're quite good like that. If they can work out what the phone is for the prisoner, I'm sure they can work out what that is on there. Right. It's only a short show tonight because basically, as I say, we were trying to do all kinds of things out of the loft tonight. We were trying to do go live out of the loft. I've set it all up to do something up there. Figured out we can't get the stream back from there. We were having technical problems getting the stream back from there tonight. You may remember that we had a few tech problems with it last week as well. We were struggling last week and it's completely died the death tonight. So I'm back down here, but we'll do whatever we can. So if you've got any questions or anything tonight, stick them in the chat. It's a good time to get them on. Like I say, because we're filling, basically, as they say in TV terms, we're filling. One thing that I can tell you that we've done this week is we've been on and done the old website a bit, and it's got a new sort of look to it. We've been doing things on the web, not on the Andy's Shed website yet, although that is coming, but on the Andy's Emporium site, on the shop side. If you have a look at this is how it now looks, and it's got a load of stuff in it as well now. So if you click on the visit our shop link thing there, and then you click on the vintage telephones bit there, then you can see we've got all kinds of vintage telephones. All sorts of stuff is in there now. Oh, hang on. Yeah, we've got all sorts of things in there. We've got button blanking plates. We've got cases. Just a few cases on at the minute for 746s there, but we have got others as well that will be going on soon. Extra stuff that I've been adding this week, I've been adding finger wheels, because I've had a load of finger wheels come in. If your phone is short of a finger wheel, particularly a clear one, let us know. Also, finger plates, I think bits with the numbers on. I've got all kinds of those. That's a kind of ordinary one for a 746. but I've got all kinds. I've got receiver elements and transmitter elements as well. There's a transmitter element. Trim phone finger wheels, old style trim phone finger plates, new style trim phone finger plates. So we're gradually adding stuff to the shop, and there's more to go on there as well. So yeah, quite a bit of stuff in the shop at the moment, and the place to go is andysemporium.coldpress.net. That's andysemporium.coldpress.net. That is where to go to find the shop. So there. And as I say, we've also got the website if you want to get in touch with us. You can get in touch with us on the web as well. The website address is andyshed.coldpress.net. So just swap the Emporium for Shed basically. andyshed.coldpress.net is the one to get in touch with us if you want to get in touch for anything basically. There's a contact us form on there, and you can get hold of us on there. And remember, if you want to support the channel, if you like what we do here, you can always become a patron on Patreon. Various people are doing. Thanks to everybody that supports us already. If you don't already though, this is the link to go and get started. www.patreon.com/AndyShed. And patrons get all sorts of extra bits and pieces, and they can get in touch and make contact and things. And we also do a little blog thing for patrons as well. That is a patron only thing, and there will be some patron only streams starting at some point in the future as well, which will be exclusive to Patreon people, so watch out for that. Cracky, it's all happening, isn't it, tonight? It's all happening. For a show with nothing on it, it is all happening. And there's quite a lot of people watching us tonight as well. Right, where are we? Right, oh, it's gone awfully quiet, the chat. Have you all disappeared? Hang on, let me refresh myself. It might have. Oh, I know what's on. It's on that silly top chat thing again. I always get that. Dominic's been on. He says, I had a look at the red 1968 746L I received, and although the bezel is sadly not original, all the other components are dated 1968. Yeah, Dominic got a 1968 746L, which has got the original case on it, of course, the original slopey case, like this one. That one there, with that slope on there, that sort of straight slope. Instead of a step, it's a slope. They didn't make this case for long because they said the receivers didn't stand the hook. They said you could put the handset on the hook without it actually pushing the hook switch down. I don't know how clumsy you would have to be to do that. I've tried it all ways to do it and can't. So I don't know why they redesigned the cases, but they did. So those cases are only made for a few years. Dominic's got one, but some tow rag has put one of those modern dial bezels on it, the ones that are printed on the front. So Dominic's looking for an original back painted dial bezel, alphanumeric bezel. If anybody's got one, let Dominic know in the chat. Christopher says he put his new GEC 701 wall phone in the railway room, so that's all installed now. Fat Hobbit says, what about the forum, Andy? That's a very, very good point, Fat Hobbit. You can also go to the forum. Shall we see if we can do it live? Hang on, just a sec. I will see if I can switch to the forum live for you. This is the forum. It's gpotelephones.proboards.com is the forum, and if I can switch to it live. Let's see if I can do it. there you go. There's a live view of the forum. This was a new thing a few weeks ago that we started up. The OWL forum, and you can go and have a look around in here. It's just steadily progressing, shall we say, the forum at the moment. But if you look in the repair shop bit, where people post about projects and that they're doing, you can see all kinds of stuff. Hello, there's an ad on it. How do you get rid of the ad? Good question. Bear with me 1 second. We'll get rid of the ad for you somehow. Just a sec. Right, I think I've managed it. There we go. Ad's gone. It's because I'm running an ad blocker on my computer, because YouTube runs so many ads in things at the moment that I feel the requirement to run an ad blocker. So YouTube have shot themselves in the foot really by running so many ads, and they play some automatically as well. But this is the forum. It's at gpotelephones.proboards.com. As you can see, there's various threads and things on it. Where are we? You go up to the top here, into the repair shop, and you can see I've done something about the Pi 1806 that I've been working on. Oops. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons today. Can I do it like that? Does that work? No. But yeah, there's a Pi 1806 that I was working on. What else is in there? Let's say the GEC 746L, well, 746L clone, the Australian 400 series as well, and there's going to be more news about that soon, as that's going to be getting a new dial soon, hopefully. A genuine Australian one, so hopefully we'll be able to sort that out. And there's all sorts on there, you get the idea. So that's gpotelephones.proboards.com. Cool. Dominic says you might need to turn the ad blocker off. Yeah, I'm a bit late reading that, Dominic. Yeah, I've done it now. It says he's put up a guide on making a trim foam glow for those who are interested as well, and he has indeed, as Dominic. That's the guide for making a trim foam glow. Shall we have a look, see if we can find it? Where is it? How to guide on restoring the glow to trim foams using paint. And here's Dominic's guide on that if you want to read through it. Basically what he does is he cuts out a dial shaped piece of cardboard, paints it with light gathering paint, puts it in place over the tritium tube. Then when it gets dark, provided the thing has gathered a bit of light from somewhere, it sort of gives it off over the space of a couple of hours, I think it is. So it glows in the dark for a while, and it's the nearest thing I've seen to how trim foams originally looked. It's quite good. In fact, it might even be brighter than they originally were. It's pretty darn good, that is. So that's another thing there on the forum, gpotelephones.proboards.com. Slightly different address for that, gpotelephones.proboards.com. Fattlebit says, that's very useful. It is. I've got to try it myself. So I've got a load of trim phones here, none of which glow. So it's all go. There's not been much news here on the telephone from this week. I've had other things have been happening this week, so not a lot to report on the telephone front. Although next week, hopefully, there will be something to report. There is a very special, I wanted to say American phone coming, but I think the one that's actually coming is Canadian, which makes a subtle difference to it. So if you like American and Canadian stuff, watch next week, because hopefully there'll be something quite spectacular on next week. Back to the chat, Christopher says the dial that he's sending, because Christopher is the one sending the dial to go on my 400 series, is a 1961 dial for a PMG 400, which I'm going to fit to the 400 that I've got here. Where is it? Here it is. I'm going to be fitting it to this. Now this actually didn't have a dial originally, it had a magneto. So it had a turny handle that you wound where the dial is, basically. It was a magneto phone, but somebody at some point had fitted a dial that was completely wrong. They'd fitted dial 21 to it. GPO dial 21 was completely wrong. The dial is stuck to the phone. It actually is physically stuck, i.e. glued in. So I've got to get that out because it's going to have a dial 12 put on. But what I've done for now is I've put a black finger wheel on, just to make it look a bit more like what it should do, although it's not totally correct, but we are getting there. So when Christopher's dial arrives, and bear in mind it's literally coming halfway around the world, then we should hopefully be able to get that sorted out and get that back together for him. So that'll be good. What I've been working on this week has been a real pain in the backside. What I've been doing this week, and it's this. If I can get the camera in the right place, it's this. This is what I've been working on this week. This is a power supply out of a vintage Bush record player dating from 1960s or possibly early 1970s, and the record player hums, so we think that this capacitor is at fault. We think this capacitor's gone faulty, and that's making the record player hum. When it's been on about half an hour, it starts humming. Because it doesn't know the words. Right, but the problem that we've got with this is this capacitor is a very strange value. It's 2,500 microfarads at 30 volts DC. Now, you try getting one of those capacitors. I've looked everywhere for a 2,500 microfarad capacitor at 30 volts DC. Can't find one anywhere. If anybody knows where I can get a reasonably equivalent capacitor to this, and also ideally one that's a reasonably the same physical size as well, because it's got to fit in this clampy thing, then let me know, because I need to put this back together for somebody. She's actually got 2 record players, and they're both the same, and they've both got various problems, and this would get at least one of them going. So I'm looking for this 2500 microfarad capacitor at 30 volts, no, 30 VDC it says, so 2500 microfarad at 30 volts. It should be about that sort of size. It will probably be smaller though now, and ideally I want a new one, because buying old capacitors is never a good idea if you can help it, because it might have dried out while it's been sat on the shelf, in the same way this one's probably dried out inside, and that's what's causing the problem with it. So if anybody knows where I can get one, get in touch. Wesley says, is that capacitor just for smoothing purposes? I think it is, Wesley. I think it is just a smoothing capacitor, because when you look at what's happening on the transformer, you've obviously got, these are the wires that go into the transformer from your 240 volts, and underneath these 2 wires go out of the transformer. They just go to a lamp. They just go to like a neon, to show the thing is on, you know, power on lamp. And then you've got this going to the capacitor, then off the bottom of the capacitor it's there. So I think it is just a smoothing capacitor. So theoretically speaking, I could take it out, most likely, which might be an option, just to take it out and see what happens. But it would probably cause all sorts of interference on people's TVs and things if I took that out. So I'm looking to replace it ideally, to keep the thing as it should be. Right. Right. Christopher in the chat, he says, just needs my address. Yes, I'll send you my address, Christopher. I'm on it. I'm on it. I will remember. If I don't, just poke me with an email or something. But I will endeavour to remember. Right. So that's what we've been up to this week. This thing. And to be honest, it's taken all week. So we've not done very well at all. Well, it says it is a smoothing capacitor by the look of it. Don't take it out or the hum would probably be worse. The value of it is probably not that critical. Yeah, it's probably not. Yeah, I guess you can go up in value probably, can't you? The thing about it is though, Wesley, I can't find one that's even close. You know, if I could find one that was like 3,000 microfarads or something, you know, I'd go for it, but I can't find one that's relatively close. Not entirely sure why. What I'm toying with now is the idea of possibly replacing the whole power supply to do it. See if I can find a 30 volt power supply from somewhere. Because although it's 30 volt capacity, it may not actually be a 30 volt power supply. So that's an interesting thought. What I will have to do is reconnect this up and actually see what sort of voltage it runs at, because there's nothing marked on it that I can see. I can't see. It'd be handy if it told you, but it doesn't, as far as I can tell. there's a number on it there. Look, I wonder if I could search that number. Can you see that? I might have to do a search on that. But yeah, we'll get there eventually. We will get there. What does it say? The capacitance value, not the DC value. Yeah, the capacitance value, that's what I'm on about. 2,500 microfarads. What was the value again, says Wesley? It's 2,500 microfarads at, it says on here, 30 volts DC working. That's what it says. So that's what it's got to do. As I understand it, that's what it's got to be able to do all the time, sort of thing. Its working voltage seems an oddball voltage to be. If that transformer actually gives out 30 volts, it does seem to be a very strange voltage, though. You would expect it to be sort of 12 or 24 or something like that, wouldn't you? 30 seems a bit odd. So yeah, it's 2,500 microfarad, 30 volts. It'll find one now. It'll get on Google and find one. I'm sure it will. Right, so that's what we've been up to this week. On the phone front, like I say, not much has been happening. I have, however, got a rather nice blue. Move that out of the way. I have got a rather nice blue American phone. I showed you this the other week, didn't I? This one. So that's locked up and it does work. I've tried it out this week and it does work. Gives a very American ring to it. It's not a 500 series. It's an automatic electric phone that was used by the private companies in America. There were Bell. Bell was the big company that everybody knows out, which Western Electric and that were part of. But there were private companies as well, a bit like KCOM here in the UK that works in Kingston upon Hull, and of course they used their own phones and automatic electric basically made phones for these private companies, and that's one of them. So it's not a 500 series, but it's contemporary to a 500 series. Christopher says, his GEC 711 Warphone has the early type circuit board. Now, I don't know what they did with the Warphones, Christopher, because the 711 is contemporary to the 706, of course, and the 706 you had a version with a circuit board in, and you had a version that didn't have a circuit board, that was just wired. And the reason for that is not all the companies that made phones for the GPO at that time had the ability to make printed circuit boards. Printed circuit boards were a new idea in the early 1960s, and some of the companies that made the telephones just could not make a printed circuit board. So that's why the 706s, some have printed circuit boards and some don't, because all the companies could do soldering wires together, but not all of them could make a printed circuit board. So with the 711, I don't know if they were only made by the companies that could make circuit boards, or if there were two versions of those. I'm not sure there were two versions of them. I feel they might all have a circuit board in 711s, but I'm not certain of it. Oh, hang on, what's happening here? But yeah, so 711s are quite rare. They weren't made for many years before the 741 came along and replaced it. And of course, from the outside, the basic case is identical. So you can't tell. It's only when you go inside and look at it, and you have to look to see if there's a regulator board in it. If there's a regulator board, it's a 711. If there's no regulator board, it's a 741. But yeah, there's a lot more 741s about than there are 711s, because the 711 was late to the game, because they had the 706 to start with, and if you wanted a war phone, what they did was they tipped the 706 upside down, spun the dial around 180 degrees, put a fancy little chrome bracket on the switch hook, and then mounted an ordinary phone on the wall, of which I've got a few here. There was one on the show a few weeks ago, but they're quite rare as well. But it means that the 711 didn't come along at the same time as the 706. The 711 was a few years later, and so it wasn't produced for as long before they switched to the 741, which basically uses the 746's circuitry and stuff in it. Well, it says, I haven't looked far, Andre, but there's a 2500 microfarad electrolytic 35 volt on Farnell. Is there? Right, maybe I missed it, because I certainly looked on Farnell. I shall have a look when we've done Wesley, but that sounds like that'll do nicely to me. So we'll have a go, and if it's smaller than the one that I've got, which I'm guessing it probably will be, what I'll do is I'll empty this can and put it inside this can, so it looks the same and it holds the same in that clampy thing. Because capacitors, like everything else over the years, seem to have got smaller. I recapped a stereogram, you know, the big stereos that are like a sideboard. I recapped one of those for somebody a few months ago, and all the capacitors that had to go on this circuit board, I changed about maybe a dozen capacitors in it, because I changed them all. I changed all the electrolytic capacitors I could find in it, in the radio bit of it, and in everything. And all the ones that I was replacing them with were about half the size of the ones that I took out. But luckily, because it was on a circuit board, you could just bend the legs a bit and make them fit. So yeah, we'll have a look, and it's got an order code for me as well. I shall write that down. Actually, that order code. So what is it? It's a 35 volts. It's 2750 172. Thank you very much, Wesley. I shall have a look for one of those after the show tonight. We'll hopefully, and I can get these record players out of the way, because they are taking up rather a lot of space. Christopher says, I have a video of my GEC 711 war phone on my YouTube channel. Excellent. Tell them what the channel is then, Christopher. Put your channel address in the chat so everybody knows what the channel is. He says, the only wires going to the screws in the phone. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't have a line cord. It wires straight into the screws in the phone, doesn't it? Or do you mean the only wires inside it are going to the screws? All the rest on the circuit board? I think that was just. I think the screws are normally on the circuit board as well, though, aren't they? On the 706, the screws form part of the circuit board. And they certainly do in a 746. Wesley says the capacitor that he's found is 18mm in diameter and 30mm long, so it's 3 centimeters long and just under 2 centimeters wide. That's probably about the same size then, Wesley, isn't it? Just under. Right, let me find a ruler. Wait a minute a sec. I found a ruler. Let's have a look. How wide is it? Oh, it's about. This one is about 25 millimeters across, and the length of it is 5, 6, 7, 8 and 5, 6, 7 and just over 7 centimeters tall, so it will be about 350 millimeters by about 700 and something millimeters, this one. So that one would fit inside it quite nicely, it sounds, that one that you found. So thanks for that, Wesley. Go to the top of the class once again. You're getting too good at this. You're getting too good at this after the thing with the the other week, with the prisoner phone the other week. You're all too talented by far. Christopher's put his telephone channel thing in the chat for anybody that wants to go and have a look at the phones that he's got. Christopher 2000 telephone channel, and that is on YouTube, of course, same place that we are. So when we finish here tonight, pop over there and have a look at Christopher's videos on there. That's his telephone channel. He does trains as well. He's got another channel with trains on as well, which is quite good. Red Rattlers and things. Cool. Right, so that's what we've been up to this week. As I say, there's not actually been a great deal happening this week, but I have been trying to sort things out a bit. And one thing that I have got that has arrived is a bag of bits. Let me move this out of the way a bit. Yeah, we've got a bag of bits this week. So shall we have a look? It's not an unboxing, it's an unbagging. We've got this week in our bag of bits. So what have we got in the bag of bits this week? A circuit board for a 746, including the hook switch. Cool. Very good. They're interesting, these circuit boards, because they're not always all the same. Here's another one. Another circuit board. Hook switch has got a few bits missing on this. The actual hooky part's missing on this. But they're not entirely the same. Both are 746s. And they look similar, don't they? They look similar, but notice one's got 3 capacitors and one's only got 2. And if we turn them over, I bet the tracks on the back are different as well. Yeah, look, totally different way of doing the tracks. They basically go to the same places, but it's a different pattern that they've used to print the tracks on. Same idea, just different way of doing it. So when you see all these 746s and that, you know, nothing is standard. Although everything's interchangeable, nothing is the same. So yeah, a couple of 746 circuit boards. It's always handy to have. And we were talking about these earlier. This is out of a 706, of course. A little rectifier board thing. Oh, not rectifier board. Yeah. For long line and short line working. Basically, it's to cut the speech circuit down on a short line and stop you getting deafened. If you're on a normal or a short line and it's a bit too loud, you put this side down into the circuit board of the phone. If you're on a long line and you want to take this out of use, you put that side down into the phone, because you see that end's not actually connected to anything. And what it is, basically, it's a load of resistors and a light bulb. And this is probably quite an early one. It says HR59 on it. Because later on they painted these bulbs black, because what happens when this is in the phone, that bulb lights. and people used to think the phone was on fire because they saw this light coming from inside the phone, this sort of orange glow from inside the phone. They got, my phone's on fire, and it panicked people. So later they actually painted these bulbs black. But this looks like an early one because of the unpainted bulb. So yeah, that'd be fun to put into a phone and actually try and see how much it lights up, wouldn't it? What else have we got? Now this is an interesting thing. Does anybody know what this is? Yeah, you're all shouting regulator board at me. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I have these brain cloud moments every now and again. But yeah, it's a regulator board. That was either a 706 or a 711 possibly. But I think it's an early board, that one. Now, who knows what this is? Wesley again, trim phone acoustic horn. Yep, that's it, Wesley, you've got it. This is the bit of the trim phone that stops you putting your hand over the mouthpiece and to say something in secret. Yeah, it's the acoustic horn, so that will sort of fit on there. No, tell a lie. It's all the other end, isn't it? It's all that end, I think. Yeah, it's all that end. Where it all goes, it all fits at the other end. So basically, out of a trim phone, there's the two elements, the speaker and the microphone, and they both kind of fit, I think, back to they're kind of like that, aren't they? When they're inside the handset of a trim phone, they're kind of back to back like that, and they both fit at this end, which is at the bottom end of a trim phone handset. No, it's at the top end of a trim phone handset. It's that way up. Because a trim phone handset is fatter at the top than it is at the bottom. Remember, they always break at the bottom of a trim phone handset. So when you put your hand over the bottom of a trim phone handset to try and hush what you're saying to somebody in the room from the person on the other end of the phone, actually these two bits are at this end. So you put your hand over it and you're talking away, and of course they can still hear you because what you've smothered is not these. It's just the plastic bit. It's caught out, many a person has that. So a few trim foam bits there. This is interesting. This is a later regulator, and this one, as you see, has got the bulb painted black, but it's basically the same thing. Again though, totally different style of how it's been done. Hang on, I've got it wrong way up, haven't I? Yeah, that's it. Totally different style of doing the same thing. There we go. Another one of those. What else have we got? Now, in a trim phone, that regulator is packaged like that. And that dates from 1979 according to the code on it. So that's one out of a trim phone. Another bit out of a trim phone, out of the handset of a trim phone. The carbon microphone, the carbon transmitter, out of a standard handset, so out of either 706, 746, 711, 741, 710, any of the above. Very, very common carbon unit. These go duff after a while because all the carbon sort of clumps together, particularly if they've been damp, and that's when you start getting noise and that on the line. The way to fix one of these is A, shake it, and B, bang it on the desk like that. And you can, if you're very clever, and I have done this before, you can unpeel the metal around the edge here, take the thing apart, sort of stir up the carbon granules so they're all free again, put it back together, and then peen this back over again. It can be done, I have done it. Right, what else have we got in here? Ah! Do you know what that is? That's interesting. Remember the yellow trim phone that was missing a leg for its dial? It only got 2 out of 3 legs. That's the leg that was missing, because that's where this back came from, the same place that the yellow trim phone came from. That is the missing leg for the yellow trim phone. Now the yellow trim phone's away at the minute. A friend of mine's got it because he's looking for a spring for the switch hook for it. So he's got the trim phone looking for the relevant spring, so when I get it back we'll reattach that leg to the dial. So that's brilliant that. We've found that. What else have we got here? Handset cap. So there's the insert for it. That'll go in there like that. See? Is it a grey one or is it a brown one? You always have to look at these and go, yeah, is that a brown one out of a yeoman or is it a grey one? Because it's very hard to tell. Best bet is to look at the inside, and I can tell from the inside that this is technically a grey one. But you can see why eBay people describe them as brown, can't you? Because it's really not all that obvious. And I've got a couple of bells. Hopefully it's a pair. And it's not. They're both 24Bs. These. It should be 24A and 24B. You should find in a phone. These are both 24B. And when you look at them, they are different thicknesses, the metal. I think the 24A is thicker than 24B. I think I've got that the right way round. But these are both 24Bs. what else have we got here? And we've got these. Are these a red herring? I don't know what these are, so I think these might be a red herring. This might be something as simple as a bit of PVC pipe fitting or something. I don't think these are telephone related. I think these are a red herring, because I've also got a screw here that's not telephone related with them. So little screws and springs and things that probably are telephone related though, including that one. Now that's not the spring out the trim phone, is it? That's far too small, I reckon. What that springs out of? Does anybody recognise that? Do you think that's phone related, that spring? Wesley has said something quite clever on the chat there. He says this has got to be a grey one, because Yeomans were the only brown version of the 746 that was done, and because they were so late it was a pepper pot style cap, so instead of having this big hole in it, it had lots of little holes in it. And he's dead right, absolutely spot on the money. Well done, Wesley. And this is the plate that goes on top of the bells, and then the dial, on top of the gongs rather, and then the dial sort of fits into those two holes there. So that's one of them. And then we've got various screws and bits and pieces in the bottom of the thing. I think that screw's a red herring, that one, but yeah, various bits in there. So that's an interesting bag of goodies. Put it all back in there for the time being. But I've got lots of little bags of bits like this that I've bought over the years, and to be honest, they all need sorting out. If only I had enough space to have a workshop with lots of bins in one of those racks, you could put all the different bits in the different bins. But I'm glad I found that leg off that trim phone dial mount. So what's that? So that's all the stuff that we've got. Christopher says the light bulb caught me out in the 746 when I saw the light glowing. I thought I'd shorted out the phone. Yeah, that's what people do. They see the light. I'm surprised in a 746. What now? How do they have it? It's on the main circuit board. I just had a circuit board for 746 in my hand, haven't I? How's it done on a 746? Oh yeah, it's in a thing on a 746. It's in a sleeve. It's on the main circuit board in a 746, so it's in the circuit all the time, the regulator. But there's two of the little light bulbs, and they're in this black sleeve here. That's where they are. This thing here is a load of resistors, basically made together in one unit. So this is a load of resistors. This is your induction coil on a 746. This thing here is the light bulb, but it's actually two light bulbs. But it's in this black sleeve, but I guess you would see it a bit from the ends, yeah. But yeah, you will certainly see it on that one that's not a painted bulb though. Perhaps one week we'll put that into a 706 that's not got the top on, and operate the phone, and you will see it light up. That's something I've never done, so that'll be interesting to try. What I normally do with the regulators, I normally take them out of service. I normally spin them around so they're not actually regulating on 706s, and that, of course, on 746 you can't. It's in line all the time. You can't switch it off. Wesley says, can you hold the spring up again? If I can find it, Wesley, I can hold it up. bear with me one momento. We'll have a little look for it again. There it is. Come here. There you go, Wesley. Do you want a closer look at it? Hang on. It's very small and it's also very strong. I can't imagine it holds anything plastic because it's very strong, it'd break it. But it's interesting because if you have a look at it like that, oh hang on, which way do I have to go? If you have a look at it like that, you'll see it hooks opposite ways at opposite ends. That is most definitely the spring from the trim phone. You reckon? That's it. It's about the right size. I'll grant you it's about the right size, but it feels too springy. You know, it's too... You can hardly move it. Would that not... I feel that would break the plastic that you've got to sort of hook it onto. It is strong. It is very, very strong. I can hardly move it. I'll put it with the trim foam bit though, and then we'll see. When the trim foam comes back, hopefully it'll be back this coming week, I'll have a look at it and see. Excellent. Right. I'll leave those bits there then. We think might fit in the trim foam. Excellent. Right. Brilliant. It's all going swimmingly. Right. I think that probably about wraps it up for this week. I normally say that and then I realise there's something that I've not told you about. One night this week, possibly Wednesday, if you're a night owl, there may well be a nighttime stream. It'll either be Monday or Wednesday. This coming week there's going to be a nighttime one around about 11 o'clock at night, I think, as a test, just to see if we can pick up a different audience at a different time of day. Maybe some of the people out in America perhaps who might want to watch, because this is kind of lunchtime for people in America when this goes out, so we're wanting to do something late at night that they can probably watch when they get in from work about 5 o'clock-ish. So probably about 11 o'clock on either Monday or Wednesday, I think, this week there's going to be a late one, I think. So if you're a bit of a night owl in the UK, or if you're in other parts of the world like Christopher is, and you want to watch, be advised that there's going to be a midweek stream this week as a test. The best way to find out about it is if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, but also click the little bell icon at the side of the subscribe thing as well. Then it should notify you when we do a stream. And check you've got that switched on as well, because some people who switched that on in the past, YouTube sometimes turns it off automatically after a while for some reason. So make sure that you have got that little bell icon switched on at the side of the subscribe thing on YouTube. But yeah, we're going to have a go this week in the week. I was going to do it last week, then I realised I'd not told anybody on the live stream on Sunday about it. But yeah, either Monday or Wednesday. I'm actually thinking it'll probably happen on Monday now. We're hoping to do a midweek one. That'll have a bit more on it. Right, Wesley says, are there any potato updates? Yes, Wesley. I've dug some of them up. I've dug a row of them up. What's happened is they've got something called late potato blight, which is kind of black spots on the leaves that they are sort of just beginning to die off. And this late blight comes along about this time of year. You see it on other things as well as potatoes, and it makes sort of browny black spots on the leaves, starts to make the leaves curl up, and if you leave it, it goes down into the potatoes themselves and makes the potatoes all sort of brown and horrible. Now the way to deal with it is cut off any areas of blight that are on and get rid of them. Don't put them in the compost bin, whatever you do, get rid of them. I've found there was suddenly quite a lot of it on mine, and so I dug one root up and found the potatoes are about ready for harvesting anyway. They're a reasonable size. So I've dug one row up, but the thing is, digging them up while they're green, while the tops are still green, which these basically are, the potatoes don't keep. So what somebody on YouTube said to do was to chop all the tops off and leave them in the ground for another 3 weeks without the tops on, and then those potatoes that have been left in the ground for 3 weeks without the tops on, those potatoes will keep, it says. So that's what I've done today. I've chopped all the tops off them today, put them all in the green bin to get rid of them, because like I say, you don't want to put the diseased tops in your compost bin or anything. And I've dug a row up that we're going to use, and the rest of them, it'll be 3 weeks before I dig them up, and I might dig those up live on one of the live shows. Because so many people have asked about the potatoes. I walk down the street and people go, "Oi, Andy, how's the potatoes?" Christopher says, I'm watching this at 4:07 AM in Australia. There's dedication, Christopher. There's dedication. We have to do one at a different time of day. If we do it later, it'll be a bit more sensible for you, that, won't it? Because it'll be like, what would sort of 11 o'clock at night here be in Australia? If you're watching it at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5, 6, 7, 8. You're 9 hours ahead, it sounds like. So if I do 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, it'd be about 8 AM in Australia then, so that'd be a bit more sensible for you. You could get up at a normal time of day. Chris says, can you show your N1900 phone on your DAC? Do you mean the one on the desk one, Christopher? Does DAC mean desk? Does it just come out as DAC? Is that what you mean? Because if so, it's not an N1900. Yeah. It says it is 8 AM in Australia when it's 11 o'clock here. I can show you this, Christopher, but it's not It's not an N1900. There you go. This has been on the desk for months and months and months. It's not an Ericsson. This. It's got nothing written underneath it. I think we worked out it's a GEC or something. I can't remember now, just off the top of my head, what we worked out it was. But yeah, this is one of the phones that I restored ages and ages and ages ago. It's got dial 12 on it. I just thought it was quite a nice one, being black and having the silver dial, having the knocking things off now, having the I wanted to say chrome, but they're not chrome, stainless steel, having the stainless steel dial, I thought it was quite a nice one, so rather than put it on the shelf in the loft with all the others, we've kept this one, and we do use it from time to time. Yeah, it's got a dial tone and everything. Don't know if you can hear that. Yeah. Dial 9. If I dial 9, it should give me an outside line. Yeah, it does. And if I dial something, that'll ring something else. What's that? 21. If I dial 22. Nothing on 22. I can hear it clicking. I can hear them clicking, but so that's that. That is the phone that's on the desk. As I say, it's not an Ericsson. I have a feeling it's a GEC, but I can't totally remember for the life of me. It's also got the very early bigger curly cord on it, and this one has gone hard. It's quite hard, this. It's a thing about these earlier, bigger curly cords, that they are much stronger, and rather than the thing uncurling when you pick the handset up, you almost pull the phone off the desk because it doesn't uncurl if you're not careful. But yeah, that's the one, and it's got my own special dial label in it that we made as well. Dominic says, did the late Bellset 26s have the same insides as the early ones? I.e., was the case the only change? Yes, I think it was, Dominic. I have got both, and I think you can put the plastic case from the late ones onto the plastic or Bakelite case or whatever it was of the early ones. It's a direct swap. So yeah, I think the case was the only thing that changed, just to update it. Yeah. Fat Hobbit says that's a lovely stainless steel dial on that phone. They're very nice, the stainless steel dial 12s. I like them. They're a good dial. They're very, very, very smooth in operation as well. Christopher says it looks like my 706 with the dial 12 I have. It's certainly very similar, Christopher. It is basically, for all intents and purposes, a 706. It's just not one that was supplied to the GPO. Dominic says the dial 20, those Bellset 26s had a very long service life from about 1934 to the mid 80s. He thinks. Yeah. Nothing to go wrong though, the 26ers, because there's absolutely nothing in them really except for a capacitor and a ringer, a set of coils and the gongs. Now the 25s, that's what you want. You want a 25 if you can find one. And I've searched and searched and searched for a 25, can't find one anywhere, because the 25 is the one to use with things like candlestick phones, because it's got the induction coil in it, the Bellset 25 as well. It's the same as the 26. If you look inside the 26, there's a space at one side, and that's where the induction coil went to make it a Bellset 25. And what I've actually done, I actually got an induction coil from somewhere, out of something else, and I've put it into a Bellset 26 to make it into a 25, because I couldn't find a 25, and that's what I'm going to be using with the candlesticks when I start doing the restoration of the candlesticks, of which I've got 4 now. But yeah, you're right, a very long service life for those Bellset 26s. But if it ain't broke, don't mend it, I suppose. So that's the thing about that. Christopher says he got 2 Bellset 25s with GPO 162 phones that he has. So those have not got the induction coil in the phone then, Christopher. They've got it in the Bellset. It's a weird time. About the time that those what we will collectively call pyramid phones came out, the 162, the 200 series and that, some things had the induction coil in the phone and others had the induction coil in the Bellset, and that depends whether you have the Bellset 25 or the Bellset 26. It's that weird changeover period, so you do have to be a bit careful. If you see a pyramid phone for sale, you do have to be a bit careful exactly which one it is, because it may need the Bellset with it, because the induction coil's in the Bellset, or if the induction coil's in the phone, you can get away without the Bellset, because basically the only thing it won't do is ring. No, it says he imagines the late Bellsets were quite rare, as Bellsets weren't needed as much after the 232s. Yeah, but they're not mega rare, and there were more modern Bellsets as well that came after them that were just Bellsets. But remember, when you were hardwired, your phone was hardwired in before plug and socket came along. So it was a very common thing to have a Bellset elsewhere, because you couldn't always hear the telephone from the room that you were in. I can remember my parents had a wall phone. It was either a 741 or a 711, and it was kind of in the hallway near the front door. If they were in the kitchen, you totally couldn't hear it. They could have done with, they never did have one, but they could have done with the Bellset in the kitchen, and a lot of people did do that. A lot of people did have extra Bellsets installed, so they could hear the telephone. I know my uncle was a mechanic. He used to work from home in his. He had a farm, and he had a big workshop on his farm, and he used to work on lorries and things. And he had a Bellset on the wall in the workshop, but he didn't have a phone there. He just had the Bellset, so that if the phone rang, that I think was in the house, and he was outside in the workshop, he could hear it ring and go in and answer it. Probably didn't want a phone in there because the phone would have got filthy. Christopher says he's made a custom box with an induction coil for the AE candlestick phone he's got. Excellent. That's very good. Put some picture of that on the forum, Christopher. Go on the forum, gpotelephones.proboards.com, and stick some photos of that on the forum, because I bet people would like to see those. You should be able to do it. Just if you want to join up with the forum, by the way, anybody that's not done so already, if you want to post on it, all you've got to do is just join up. So basically, think of a username and a password and just join up. It's totally free, and then you can post loads of photos and whatever on there. Remember, gpotelephones.proboards.com is the one for the forum. Right, I think that about wraps it up for today. Thanks to everybody for watching once again. Time for me to go and have my Sunday night pizza now, I think. But as I say, hopefully, maybe tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday, we'll be back with a late night stream. Just to see if we can get more people from across the pond and that watching, if we do a late night one. And talking of across the pond, I have to say hello to David, who's been in touch this week about an Erica phone that he's got that doesn't work too well. Hi there, David. I've sent you an email about it. If you've not got it already, check your email. So that is it for me for now. Have a fantastic week ahead. Hopefully we'll see some of you late night in the week. Remember, make sure you've got that bell thing clicked on. But for me, for now, have a fantastic week, and we'll see you soon. Bye everybody.